inspiring. Yeah, we fought a revolution, but it wasn't all about taxes, as some would think. Now, when you're talking about Tom Paine, from what little I know about him, we're talking about a man with a keen sense of social justice. That's why people came. Freedom from tyranny. But tyranny comes in all different ways and forms. I keep going back to this lady this past week when she was saying at one point, she plays actually a refugee from the Jacobite rebellion. You take the high road, I'll take the low road. They would line them up, the Scots. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. As arbitrary as that. 1, you die. 2, you go to prison. 3, deport. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the way she talked, she says, we came here for hope. For a home. For the right to have a home. This is something that is a unique concept, even for our local county commissioners. The idea that it is not an investment for some people, it is a home. Right. And so I'm going to see you a commercial, a real estate commercial from the 1790s. After all, the father of our country was, in fact, a real estate investor. Come all ye brisk young fellows and have a mind to grow, all in some foreign country a long way from home. All in some foreign country a long with me to go, and we'll settle on the banks of lovely Ohio. We'll settle on the banks of lovely Ohio. All ye pretty fair maids and spin us some yarn to make us some fine clothing to keep us off. Well, you may knit it so, my love, we do reap and flow. As we settle on the banks of lovely Ohio, settle on the banks of lovely Ohio, to have a piece of land that they could call their own, passed down to their children, not have it taken away from them. Fishes in the river, just suited for our use. The tall and lofty sugar cane to give us its juice. There's every kind of game, my boys, where the fucking go. As we settle on the banks of lovely Ohio, settle on the banks of lovely Ohio. Right after the Revolution, that dream became personified. Well, personified isn't quite the word. Here we are. With a phrase. Because we acquired this another crazy visionary. He never would have gotten it through nowadays. Again, I don't mean to be really partisan, but can you imagine what the Republicans would have done if you tried to purchase Louisiana? I mean, they did back then. It's crazy. What are you doing? But for so many people here on this continent and people coming over, the phrase was, cross the wide Missouri. We had a copy, and we were filled with hope. We didn't know what was out there. I mean, Tom Jefferson was actually pretty sure that we were going to find some of the lost tribes of Israel. And we were captured by this song. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you far away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you away. We're bound across the wide Missouri. The old Missouri's a mighty river, far away, a rolling river. Oh, when she rolls down, your topsail shiver. Away, we're bound away, across the wide Missouri. The Missouri River is over 3,000 miles long. It's actually somewhat longer than the Mississippi. And way back in the early 1800s, you could take a steamboat. Yeah, steamboat, early 1800s. From Pittsburgh Landing, down the Ohio, a right turn on the Mississippi, a quick left turn at that scrappy frontier town of St. Louis, and follow those muddy, meandering curves in that same steamboat until you found yourself deep in the Rocky Mountains of Montana. And you cannot do that anymore. No, sir, thanks to progress and the ever-busy Army Corps of Engineers. And yet it was out of this river valley way back in the late 1700s that the voyagers carried their traded Indian wares from their rendezvous and their lilting songs down to the seaport city of New Orleans. And there the American sailors picked up on the songs, took them aboard what we now call our tall ships. Use them for raising sail, raising anchor, in this case, outward bound. So that's how a song that was born deep in the continent, the heartland of this continent, by 1800, could be heard echoing across the far exotic harbors of Canton, Shanghai, Calcutta, Cape Town, and the old ports of Europe. Echoing across the harbors under a new flag, a gift from a brave land. Oh, Shenandoah, I took an ocean far away, you rolling river, to sail across the stormy ocean. Away, we're bound away, across the wide Missouri. Farewell, my love, I'm bound to leave. The wide Missouri. Now, I was originally asked to do some tavern songs. One of the great tavern songs of the time. Tom Paine would have known this, but you'll just bring a tear to your eye. It is a bawdy song. It's sort of a dirty drinking song. At times when I'm called upon to help the teachers, I like to sing it, particularly to the 5th graders. It's fun to watch their teachers squirm. I'm now going to sing to you a dirty drinking song. In the mid-1700s, there were a group of fellas put together a club. There were many people put together a lot of clubs.
It looks small from a distance.
We would not be nationwide now if it weren't for that weird, perverted, nasty club that Ben Franklin liked to hang out at. But there's a group of guys that put together, they call themselves the Anacreon Society of London. Anacreon? Sounds very highfalutin. They Remember that Anacreon was a Greek poet, known for his odes to wine, women, and song, and tradition has it that he choked to death on an olive pit in the middle of an orgy. So that was what their meetings were all about. I think it was every Wednesday night they would meet to have their orgies. It became somewhat institutionalized, so one of their members, a man by the name of John Stafford Smith, put together a song with which to begin their orgies. And it went like this. I can sing it to the 5th graders because I tell them, yeah, it's a dirty song, but you're not going to get it because you're not classically educated. Will you be? Well, how many people here know Greek? Well, actually, it doesn't work down in South County because a lot of kids know Greek down there. But, or about mythology or the great Roman orators. Nothing. So, here it is. Dirty drinking song that bring a tear to your eye. To not dread in heaven, who sat in full glee, when a few sons of harmony sent a petition, that he their inspire and patron would be, when the answer arrived from the jolly old Grecian. Now he's up in heaven, he's looking down. Voice, fiddle, and flute, no longer be mute, I'll lend you my name and inspire you to boot. Likewise, I'll instruct you like me to entwine the myrtle of Venus with Bacchus's vine. They start banging their mugs. Likewise, I'll instruct you like me to entwine the myrtle of Venus with Bacchus's vine. Became very popular quickly. Everybody started singing this song. They started hanging news on it, like broadsides. What a court hath holding. And about 50 some odd years pass, and this young nation of ours gets involved in a war. We were the little guy, everybody was picking on us, hoping that we would fall flat on our face with these dangerous notions. It's the only war I know of, well, actually maybe this last war happened, where Congress declared war. They were so ticked off at everybody, but they left the war blank. It could be France, Spain, or England, whoever crosses the next was going to get it. It turned out to be the English, and we were the ones who had got it. Our country was overrun with foreign troops, our capital occupied and burned, and it looked like this glorious dream of ours was going to end in disaster. Well, that's when, in the midst of a major offensive for this whole war, a lawyer, that's true, a lawyer, put together a poem. And there you go. and it got published. The front page of the local newspaper. Then along comes Ferdinand Durang. Nobody. Ferdinand Durang, yeah. Ferdinand Durang was an out-of-work actor, folk singer, who had a fondness for cold beer, and played the guitar. So he would go around the waterfront taverns playing for free beers. Well, you can't say free, he was working for them. And it was him that saw this point and thinks, aha, I'm going to wed it to this great old drinking song, and I'm going to sing it, and I could probably get liquored up. So he started singing it around the waterfront. Timing was right. People liked it. They kept asking, hey, what was that? You want to do that again? And after a while, they're kind of singing and walking down the street, and their friends say, what is that? So it gets passed down. What I'm talking about here is actually, technically, a folk song. And it becomes by the dawn's early light, when so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts of punch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave the mist of the deep, where the foe's haughty host in dread silence reposes. What is that which the breeze or the towering steed, as it quickly blows, half conceals, half discloses? Now it catches the gleam of the morning's first beam, in full glory reflected, now shines on the stream. 'Tis the star-spangled banner along midway, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, thus be it ever, where free men shall stand between their loved homes and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heavens rescued land raise the power of the death and preserve us a nation. Then conquer we must, when our cause it is just, and thus be our motto, in God is our trust. Then the star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Little postscript. In the late 1940s, early 1950s, they changed one word. They meaning the people that make our schools. From the last verse. And one word can make a big difference. Then conquer we must, when our cause is just. Moral qualifier. You don't hear that much in national anthems. They changed it to, then conquer we must, for our cause it is just. And my thinking kind of sucked the soul right out of it. I am pleased to report that the lyrics are back to the way Francis Scott Key originally penned them.